This particular video, as the title suggests, is about is Total Depravity Illustrated. If you haven't seen my other videos about the doctrine of total depravity, or why atheists sound like criminals, which is about total depravity, I'm going to assume you know what it is in this video. If you don't, stop, go back, watch those two particular videos, and then come back. This particular video will be, I'm going to be focused in Matthew 26 and 27, and in those particular passages, in those two particular chapters, you see Jesus' arrest and trial. In Matthew 26, Judas comes and betrays Jesus with a greeting. The amazing part about this entire incident, this entire section, aspect in the life of Christ, really sheds light on this in the focus of this video in John 1. In John 1, John makes a statement in the prologue that the triune God, in the second person of the Trinity, cloaks himself in flesh, enters time, and lives among us. But that mankind has no idea. He comes to his own, and his own do not receive him. Now that's a particular tragic set of verses. The one Christ who controls all things, sustains all things, gives man life and breath, he created everything for him, enters time, and his creation has no idea. Now go back to the trial. Judas, the one who lived with Christ from the beginning of the ministry, he's seen the miracles, he saw Christ raise a man from the dead, and still doesn't believe. He betrays him, a man who, by his own testimony, admits he's innocent. He betrayed an innocent man. It clearly shows that within the historic Christian faith, it's not about the evidence. Judas had plenty of evidence, yet he still rejected. I want you to think about that. Now we go on in the chapter. He goes before the religious leaders in this sham trial. He goes before Pilate. He goes before the soldiers who mock him. He's taken to the cross. And the religious leaders throughout all this, they keep saying, well, even at the cross, they say, well, do this and we'll believe. They've said that throughout Christ's ministry. Do this and we'll believe. Give us some evidence that you are the Christ. And despite all the evidence he gave them, they still didn't believe. It wasn't about the evidence. As I mentioned in those two videos, it's about man's inherent moral corruption. Mankind is wicked. He's born that way. You can see that in a 2-year-old. He automatically hits the kids around him, or bites, or steals somebody else's little toy. It explains the world around us. Here Christ is here God, in the second person of the Trinity, is put on trial by his creation, and they have no idea who he is. I have no doubt that the religious leaders knew he was from God, knew he was some sort of prophet. They maybe even understood that he was the Christ, but they had no idea he was God. No one did. The only one who realized it, I think, was Peter. And even Peter, what does he do? He denies Christ, curses, and suddenly realizes what he's done and is horribly broken about it. It's not about the evidence. As I've said, Christianity is founded upon evidence. Luke wrote the Gospel of Luke and Acts precisely so that the people who read it will understand, hey, this isn't myth. This really happened. We actually saw this. As John says in 1 John, we touched him, we heard him, we saw him, we lived with him. This wasn't some spirit. This wasn't some myth. This was reality. This was history. Go back to Pharaoh. Was it about the evidence with Pharaoh? Pharaoh knew Yahweh was God. God's, hurling 50-pound rocks at his grill. And what does Pharaoh do? He gives God the proverbial finger. Go back to Revelation. And what do you see in Revelation? Despite no matter how you interpret it, the principle's there. That God is judging mankind, pouring his wrath down upon mankind. And what does mankind do? Do they repent? No. They give him the finger. Go to the people in hell. Specifically, go to Luke 16. What does the man want? Does he repent? It doesn't get any more, you don't get any better evidence than that. When you die, you stand before the judgment. He declares you guilty and you go to hell. What better evidence do you need? And what do? He just wanted a drink of water. He didn't want to repent. As the saying goes, the gates of hell are locked from the inside. It's not about the evidence. Christianity teaches that mankind is morally corrupt. We see that in the world around us. Whether you are religious or anti-religious, the history is the same. It's a bloody, violent history. Why? Modern atheists like to think that if we just get rid of religion because it poisons everything, that we'd be fine. That's ridiculous. History says it's ridiculous. That's quite some self-delusion you've got going on there. To actually think that. What in history leads you to believe that if you get rid of religion, tell that to Pol Pot and the 2 million people that were killed under him. Wasn't a whole lot of religion in that. Why? What is the suffering? It's not about the evidence. In Romans 1, it says God has clearly revealed himself to mankind. He has made himself known. Yet, much like as my illustration here in Matthew 26 and 27 shows, they don't see it. And the issue is why? Why don't they see something so plainly obvious to them? Depravity. Inherent depravity. Original sin, as well as love of sin. Jesus said in the Gospel of John, this is the guilty verdict that the judge of all the earth is pronouncing upon mankind, that men desired darkness rather than light. So, Mr. Atheist, when you throw up evidence, understand that the historic Christian is going to recognize and is not going to allow that false, self-deluded myth of neutrality to stand. He's going to point out the error. He's going to attack your presuppositions and the very source of your reasoning, yourself. Mankind was not created autonomous. He was created for God. He was created to enjoy God and worship God. And nothing makes sense, as I've said in other videos, without him. Without him as the source and foundation of all things. He is the creator. Knowledge, science, reason, none of it makes sense without him. He created it for himself, so it obviously makes sense that it can't exist without him. I hope you'll think about this.